rating when this person himself or herself purchased this particular type of product or this or went in for this kind of service. So we need to be careful that when we are using this, and see what we are doing is why we are doing this. Remember, to uncover the subconscious motives. But as I told you that we have to be cautious, because whenever interpretations will be there, human beings will be involved. There will be biases. There will be subjectivity. Then what happens is that based upon the insights that we get during these using these techniques, at times what we do is that we are in a position to, or we are in a better position to either say refine a questionnaire, or for example say develop a questionnaire, or for example if you're using a ready-made questionnaire which other researchers have developed, maybe you want to Indianize it, you want to localize it. So you with the help of these interactions, you may find out that what all additional queries may be there, or what all additional issues or aspects need to be explored from the point of view of the Indian respondents. So all these interesting insights we can get if we are using these kind of qualitative procedures. Then okay, now let us discuss the first type, that is the association techniques. So in case of association techniques, what is happening is, I think some idea you may have got from the first part of this title, that is association. So here what we do is that we will be presenting the individuals or our subjects with some stimulus, and what we expect is that the moment we expose that individual to that stimulus, some kind of response will be there. And in fact, the best method, or the most commonly used method as far as these association techniques are concerned, is the word association method. It's a word, W-O-R-D, word association method. So what is this word association method? So here what we do is that we will be presenting, as researchers, we will be presenting the subjects or respondents with a list of words. So we prepare a list of words, and we will read out those words, the words which are in the list, one at a time, and then we will ask the respondent to react to each word that we are reading, and we will instruct that person. We will we expect that the person will be sharing with us the first word that comes to the mind of that individual. For example, I have a list of words with me, and when I'm reading out those words, the respondent is supposed to respond or to react to whatever word I have read out, and we beforehand tell that person that you have to share with us the first word that comes to their mind when you're reading, as a researcher, you're reading out from that list of words. So this list of words may consist of two types of words. One type of words, they are referred to as test words. The other type are the neutral words. So the neutral words basically are the words that help us in disguising the purpose of the study. So the neutral words help us in disguising the purpose of the study. The test words are those words in which we are really interested. For example, say in case of, let us see. Yeah. So for example, suppose there is a retail outlet, and you are trying to understand the behavior and attitude of shoppers. This is what you are doing, that you are investigating that. So for example, the words that may be of interest to us as researchers in that context may be say location, parking, shopping, quality, price. Now these may be the words which are really of interest. So when we read out these words to that our subject or to the respondent, the person suppose says location, convenient. The person responds convenient. So parking, convenient. Shopping, for example, nice experience, or quality, good. Price, affordable. So when you are reading out these words, the person comes out with the first word that comes to the mind of that individual. So you note down that particular those words which are being shared by those subjects, and based upon that we interpret. For example, we may interpret that from the point of view of a particular segment of the market. What is more important is that whether they will be able to properly park their vehicles at the retail outlet which they are approaching, or which they whichever they patronize. So they may be paying more of importance to parking space, location of that particular outlet, rather than the price, because for them what is more important is that they should be getting, say, quality products, they should be able to park their car properly, and there should be a lot of space there. So based upon this, as researchers, we may provide inputs to our clients, or for example, if we are, if this is what is being researched by us, and we may suggest that the type of individuals or the type of people whom you want to target, they are more interested not in say the price of the product, but rather they are more interested in, say, the kind of quality which you're offering, the location of the store. They may be willing to travel distances. For example, they may be willing to travel 5 or 10 kilometers, provided they are able to get a proper parking space. So this is what you may interpret based upon the responses that the people will be sharing with you when you're reading out from that list of words, which has two types of words, that is the test words and the neutral words. So, in fact, as researchers, what we do is that we, record all the responses, and we record them verbatim. By verbatim, we mean that we have to record it as the people are sharing with us. It is not that as researchers, we have the liberty of making any changes in those words. So each word is recorded verbatim. And another thing as researchers, what we do is that we even note down the time that was required by the subjects to share with us that single word as a response that that person was sharing. So the time, for example, when I read out the first word from my list of words, I will note down how much time that respondent took to share with me the response word. So I'll time that out. Now, why this is important, the timing part, because based upon that, we can find out that whether the person was very involved or is very involved. For example, when the person is responding to test words of a particular type in my list, or it may also be that the person really is not able to recall, or the person is too that particular word or whatever you are researching the respondent doesn't have anything in him or her that the person can share with you. So the assumption is that these associations allow respondents to reveal their true feelings, to reveal their inner feelings about whatever is the topic of interest from the point of view of researcher. So you have a list of words. Let me repeat, you have two types of words in that. One is the test word. The test words are there. The other are the neutral words. So test words are of interest to us. Neutral words are basically used in that list so as to disguise the purpose of the study. So we can be analyzing the responses which are emerging from the subjects by noting down the frequency with which, say, a particular word is appearing as a response. We may also note down the amount of time that elapses between the response that is given and the time when the word was read out by the researcher. Then we may also have to note down that how many people did not respond, say, to certain test words, or how many people did not respond to all the test words. So that is theoretically it's a possibility. And we have to note down that, in general, whether there was hesitation in the response that was emerging. And if there was hesitation, at times researchers also note down the facial expressions that were there on the part of the subjects who were participating in that study. And based upon that also, we can interpret a number of things, and then we can provide our interpretations to our clients, or based upon that we can suggest to them a particular course of action. So these methods, that is these word association methods, basically are used by market researchers that to ensure that a proper message is conveyed, say, for example, by names or adjectives and if you are trying to promote a company or trying to promote a brand. So if, for example, take the case of the retail store example that I was sharing with you. So based upon that, you may decide that what kind of promotional messaging should be there from your side. You may have to decide, for example, what has to be highlighted in the promotional message. So as I was sharing with you, suppose the parking is more important, they may be willing to travel distances, they are more after quality, so you have to highlight not the price but the quality, and also this fact that you have sufficient parking space if you're visiting, or some other associated facilities are there which people of that type may require. So you, based upon this kind of study, you may find out that what are the things which are important, and that will be highlighted by you in the promotional message. Then we have completion techniques, which as researchers we employ. So what here we do is that we ask the subjects or the respondents to complete some incomplete stimulus situation. I'm repeating, we expect the respondents to complete an incomplete stimulus situation. So for example, what we may do is that we may ask the subjects to complete a sentence. We may ask the subjects, for example, to complete a paragraph, or at times, it turns into a mini story also, that we give some initial stimulus, and after that we expect that the subjects will be providing to us, or completing that paragraph, and through that the person will be sharing the inner feelings that the person has regarding that particular stimulus word that the researcher has shared with that individual. So the different names that we give to these techniques are sentence completion techniques, or for example word association techniques. These are techniques that maybe word association we have already shared. So these sentence completion technique, in some ways it is similar to word association, but the difference here is that we are giving the liberty to the subjects to complete a particular sentence, so that more of things can be revealed, more of things can be uncovered as researchers by us. So they may, the subjects may be asked, for example, to record, for example, the first, just like we were discussing in case of the word association. So respondents may be asked to complete the incomplete sentence, for example, and in that case, the sentence may be completed using a single word, or the sentence may be completed using a phrase. So it depends upon the situation, it depends upon what you expect, and it also depends upon your subjects, that whether they will be using a single word to complete it, or they will be using a phrase to complete it, or maybe they may be using more than a phrase. Say maybe a complete sentence or something very long they may provide to you, so that may be more revealing as far as their underlying motivations are concerned. So as far as the advantage is concerned, or if you compare with the word association, it is said that sentence completion provides more information. It is very obvious, because in case of word association, only a single word is being provided as a response by the subjects, whereas in this case, you are giving the liberty to the subjects, to the respondents, to complete a sentence, and the person can complete it using a word or maybe a phrase. So of course, more of insights can be gained if more of words are being used by the subjects in a particular stimulus situation. So this sentence completion, to some extent you can say that it is not as disguised. So it is not as disguised, because at times what happens is that when we are using a particular incomplete sentence for during this particular type of procedure, so the subjects can sometimes fairly accurately guess that is what is being researched by this individual, or by us as researchers. So one of the variations, in fact, that is used frequently by researchers, as I was sharing with you, is paragraph completion. And at times they also go for story completion methods. So let us see what these are. So we may go for story completion even. And suppose let us consider this example: a person who shops at Big Bazaar is. Now you have simply left it blank. Now you expect the person will maybe provide you one word as a response, or the person may provide you a phrase as a response, or maybe the person may be providing you an entire paragraph in response to this particular stimulus situation. So based upon the response, you will be interpreting that what kind of feelings or opinion this particular or attitude this particular individual has regarding people who shop at this kind of outlet. So based upon the response, you can interpret, and then based upon your interpretation, you can decide that what all needs to be highlighted, for example, in the context of promotional messages. Which through which you are trying to target people, and you are trying to basically attract the attention of your subjects. Now, say the next example is Walmart is most liked by. Walmart is most liked by. Again, see, it's an incomplete stimulus situation where we expect that the person will be providing us some kind of response, and it can be a phrase or a word or more than that. So in both the situations, again, let me repeat that based upon the words or the phrase or maybe an entire paragraph the person shares with us, we will form an opinion regarding what kind of inner feelings that the person has regarding this kind of outlet, say Big Bazaar, say Walmart. See, people who drink Pepsi are. This is another example of this completion technique. So people who drink Pepsi are dash. So it can again be a word, it can be a phrase, it can be even a paragraph. Then another example, people who vote for party X are. So again, you are leaving that incomplete, and then you expect the person to complete it for you, and based upon the words that will be used by the subjects, you will interpret and you will arrive at certain inferences, and then you may present your findings. So it is not that you will be using one word or one sentence or two sentences, but there may be a series of that, and again the idea is to uncover the hidden motives or the subconscious motives or things which are not being directly otherwise shared by your subjects with you. So see, construction technique, these require the respondents to construct a response. So this is another type of procedure that we adopt under these projective techniques. So we have discussed word association, we have discussed sentence, we have discussed the completion techniques, and before I proceed further, I will take questions. So yes, please, if you have any questions up to this point, please ask.
Sir, in completion technique,
Please, can you believe? Yes, please, can you repeat? Yes.
completion technique, does it possible that someone write a paragraph and it becomes controversial for future?
I'm not getting you saying somebody writes a paragraph.
And somebody writes a paragraph and it becomes controversial.
See, if you recall, we are discussing this under disguise procedures. Am I right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Under disguised, okay? So under disguised, remember that because as such we will not be revealing the purpose of the study, that is regarding which organization the study is being done. That is the broad understanding is this. So now when you say the controversial response, see, as a researcher you have to see to it that how carefully you plan out things, so that rather than controversies, you gain insights, you gain an understanding regarding the issue that is being probed by you. Because if that is not the case, if this is not what you are doing, then the very purpose of using these methods gets defeated, right? So the idea is that as far as possible you can avoid, but of course controversies can be there, in very simple things even otherwise. So, but the idea should be that as far as possible we have to avoid this, and we have not to get distracted by these controversies.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Which technique is better?
Which technique? See, it depends. I'll give you a very diplomatic kind of response. See, it depends. It depends. Why? Because in reality, nobody can say beforehand that which particular method will be more suitable or more, we should be using it in a particular setting. Because what happens is that suppose you have employed, say, word association, and based upon that, you realize, based upon the responses that you got, you realize that very insightful responses have not been there. So you may decide to switch to sentence completion, because then why? Because that may be more revealing, that may help you in interpreting things in a better manner. So then you may switch to sentence completion. Or sometimes you may decide that, okay, you have gone in for both these methods and you have not been successful in uncovering or meeting the objectives of your study or research. So you may have to at times switch to other methods that we have discussed already, let's say like depth interviews or focus group sessions. So as such, at this stage, without being aware of the objectives of the study, without being aware of the issues that the researcher faces in reality, we cannot say beforehand that which will be more suitable in a particular setting. But generally, the broad understanding is that if you're using, for example, sentence completion, the drawback is that the person is able to guess to a large extent that what is being probed, what is the thing that is of interest to the researcher. So the person can guess. But the advantage is that the responses are more revealing. The responses help you in better understanding or better probing things. If you compare it to the word association, because in case of word association, only a single word comes as a response from the side of the subject. So, but in case of word association, you are able to disguise the purpose of the study, because you use test words as also neutral words. So neutral words can help you in disguise the purpose of the study. So see, both of them have advantages and disadvantages. So it is for you as a researcher, based upon the peculiar situations that you may encounter, based upon that you will be deciding that which particular method will be more appropriate.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Any other question, please?
Sir, if a person finds out that he's being observed, then will that affect the study?
Yes, Mama, you're very right. The moment somebody, realizes, and of course, see, when you are asking people, or you're expecting that people will be responding to your queries, or for example, these kind of procedures are being deployed to uncover the hidden things. So we should not be expecting that our subjects are so naive, or so that they will not be able to make out. So maybe we may, using the test words and using the neutral words in a manner that we are able to conceal the purpose of the study. So we may not be as such making them realize that which particular brand or what exactly of interest to you, but they are able to fairly accurately guess that what is being done, what exactly is being researched. So yes, it happens, and I'll agree with that biases may creep in. There will be subjectivity when the people realize that they are being observed. Their behavior turns artificial, and that is why you see, if you're basing your study on such methods, you have to always mention in the limitation section of your study that because the very fact that you are there as a researcher, the very fact that this kind of interaction is happening, because of that itself, there may be biases in the responses. And because the person becomes alert, the person knows that the person is being observed, the person realizes that each and everything is being observed by the researcher. So yes, there will be issues. There may be responses which may be manufactured kind of responses, which may be emerging from the side of the subjects. But see, as researchers, we have no other alternative at times. So we have to resort to these methods, to the use of these methods, because we have to proceed with our study.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Any other question, please? Okay, if there are no questions, let us start. Yeah, I can take questions even otherwise also. If you have any queries, you can ask me later also. So see, construction techniques, see, the title itself is telling us something about what exactly will be happening here. So construction techniques is that the respondents will be constructing a response, and this response may be even a story, which may be a dialogue, it may be some kind of detailed description. So the person will be constructing this response. So see, here what happens is that researcher will be providing some kind of stimulus, which may be a prompt kind of thing, which may be a little prompting on the part of the researcher, and a structure to the respondent, and then the person expects that a lot of things will be shared by that subject, by that individual, and based upon the response you will be able to uncover a number of things there. Now, in fact, in real life settings, two construction techniques are very popular. One is the picture response technique, and the other are the cartoon tests that we employ. So we will briefly discuss these two. Picture response, as you must have got an idea from the name itself, that some kind of pictures may be used. So in picture response, what is happening is that we are using a series of pictures. We expose the subjects to a series of pictures, and then we ask them to construct or to narrate stories about the pictures which we are showing to them. So some researchers have even gone to the extent of suggesting that how many pictures should be used by us, and then how to interpret the responses. So respondents' interpretation of picture basically tells to the researcher, or gives an idea to the researcher about the personality of that individual. So these kinds of procedures are also being used at times by corporates, even by by army or defense organizations in different countries of the world. So what they will be doing is that they will be showing or sharing with you, or showing to you, or exposing to you you to some kind of pictures or images, and then they expect that you will be writing something about it. So based upon your interpretation, based upon what you are writing about those pictures, they try to understand your personality, and then they decide that whether you are the right person from the point of view of their organization, at what level you should be absorbed, and whether, for example, you should be recruited in that defense organization or the army or not. So a number of armies of the world, they use these methods. So individual, for example, based upon the responses which are emerging, may be put into various categories. For example, some based upon the response, you may be categorized as impulsive. Based upon it, you may be categorized as, for example, somebody who is a stubborn kind of individual, somebody who is creative, and different types of categorizations may be there. But remember that this method basically helps us to find out more about the personality of that individual. So next, test in this category are the cartoon tests, and as again the name itself is indicating, here what we do is that we expose our subjects to some kind of cartoon characters, and these cartoon characters are shown in specific settings or situations. And then what you do is that you expect the respondents to indicate, for example, what exactly is happening in those pictures in which the cartoon characters are present. For example, one cartoon character may be shown saying something, or some words may be shown as if they are coming out from that cartoon character, and the other person, you leave it blank. So you expect that the respondent will be completing or filling in the blanks. So let me show to you how exactly we can use it. See, a cartoon test of this type can be used. So let's see if we can pick up some kitchen gadgets at XY Bazaar. So you have another person or another individual, a character who is shown. Now the response is not provided here in that cartoon, and you as a respondent, you as a subject of interest from the point of view of researcher, will be basically sharing that what should be the response, what will be the response from this individual in this particular setting. So XY, for the purpose of understanding, I've taken, it can be any organization which may be of interest to you, or regarding which some research is being done, or maybe a category of stores regarding which a study is being done by you. It's not necessary that you may always be revealing the name of that particular organization or that retail outlet, but it is that you want to find out that in general what kind of opinion people have regarding these kind of, say, organized retail outlets. And then based upon whatever responses are emerging, you may suggest or you may interpret that what are the things that people who visit such outlets are looking for, and you can appropriately highlight those issues when you are designing an advertisement, or say promotional messages are being decided by you as a researcher. So respondents or responses which are emerging from the subjects, basically they tell us a lot about the feelings, they tell us a lot about the attitudes that people hold regarding that particular situation. Now in this case, see in the example which I shared with you, what is the situation? The situation is that two people are shown, and in the background what is happening is that some kind of retail outlet, an organized retail settings are there. So in these settings we expect the person, the subject, to provide us some response. So based upon this, as you're discussing the previous slide, see what we can do is that we can find out that what kind of feelings our subjects are having regarding this particular situation, regarding this particular setting. Suppose the other character says that, because see, one person is saying that let's see if we can pick up some kitchen gadgets at this XY bazaar. So suppose the other person as a response says that I don't expect, or I, this outlet may not be having the kind of gadgets that I require. So as a researcher, what you will be interpreting is that this individual doesn't have a favorable opinion in this context regarding such kind of outlet. So it can be a positive response also. Just for the sake of understanding, I'm sharing with you. So you can interpret, and then based upon that you can find out a lot about what you are researching. Then we have expressive techniques. So in expressive techniques, what we are doing is that respondents will be shown, or maybe they may be provided details regarding some kind of situation, and then what you expect from them is that they will be telling you some expressing their opinion to you about other people's motivation and feeling. So the idea is that you are not directly expecting the person will be sharing his or her own feelings, but respondents will not be sharing their own feelings and motivations, but you expect that they will be sharing other people's feelings and motivations in that particular situation. So when they are illustrating, when they are sharing with us in detail, when they are expressing, for example, their feelings, but these feelings, remember, are in the context of others. So you are basically showing them or expecting them to describe some kind of situation, and first you describe to them those settings, and then you expect that the person will be sharing with you some response as if it is not coming from that individual, but it is coming from some other individual. So what you are expecting here is that whatever respondents are sharing with you, it is basically their opinion, but what they are doing is that they are trying to project those responses onto others. So they are basically sharing what they have in them, but you are giving an opportunity to them to express it in a manner that they themselves don't feel embarrassed about it. So they will be projecting it onto others, but the projection is simply from the point of view of the respondent. It is a thing which is convenient. The person feels safe, secure. The person doesn't feel tempted to conform to a particular thing, because otherwise social pressures may also be operating on that individual when the person is giving a response, and the person may simply give a response because of the social pressures and not because the person really has that kind of feeling. But with this kind of device, with using this kind of technique, you can short circuit that entire thing. You can minimize the issues that otherwise you will be encountering, and because you are allowing people to express using others whatever they have in them. So the commonly used expressive techniques are role playing and third person techniques. So see, what is role playing? In role playing, what is happening is that you expect that the respondents will be playing some kind of role, or they will be assuming the behavior of others. So it's just like what is happening in case of movies. It is just like what is happening in case of some kind of say drama that you are witnessing. So here what is happening is that people basically are playing the role of somebody else, and what you expect is in these settings is that when people are sharing or when people are playing that role, they will be the people think that they will be sharing with that researcher. You see the behavior in the context of that individual or that character whose role they are playing. So researcher assumes that whatever the respondent is sharing with them in this case basically is nothing but a projection of that individual's own feelings. So you allow the person to play a role, and then behind that, what you're expecting is that while the person is playing that role, in fact, whatever the person is sharing are the true feelings as far as that individual himself or herself is concerned. Then we may also use the third person technique. And in the third person technique, what we are doing is that we present the subjects with some kind of situation. This situation may be, say, a verbal situation, some kind of visual situation, and what we instruct the respondents or expect the respondents to do is to that they will be relating the beliefs and attitudes of the third person rather than directly expressing their personal beliefs. So this third person that you may be using may be, for example, your roommate, maybe a roommate of that individual, maybe, for example, a colleague at the workplace, or, for example, the neighbor of that individual, maybe a friend of that individual. So these third persons or these individuals who otherwise can be referred in this particular setting by us as a third person, what you're doing is that you expect that the person will be sharing, using that third person, the inner feelings. And again, just like in case of role playing, you assume that the respondent will be revealing basically his or her own personal feelings, personal beliefs, personal own attitudes, while the person is describing that third party. If you recall, some of the one of the interactions I shared with you, that suppose I'm probing about shoplifting. Suppose I'm probing about, say, dowry, which is a social evil. If I'm probing about that, so if I ask directly somebody, have you taken dowry? Have you ever shoplifted? So the person will not be openly accepting it. So in these settings, we may have to resort to the use of these methods where we may allow the person to express his or her own feelings by using others. So suppose the person, as I was sharing earlier, the person says that, yes, my such and such friend, or for example, I know of a friend and who has shoplifted, and then the discussion will proceed further, and then based upon that you may realize that this individual doesn't have too much of negativity attached to this kind of behavior. That is the behavior of shoplifting, which is something which is against the interest of society at large. So why I'm saying this, that shoplifting is against the interests of society at large, because what these retailers are doing is, see, they're very clever entities. They will not be paying for the shoplifted item from their own pocket. What they do is that when they realize that a lot of shoplifting is happening, they jack up the price. And why they jack up the price? They say that we are providing you so much of security, then RFID tags we are using, and so on. So based upon that, they say that, and of course they will be incurring expenditure also. So what they do is that they increase the prices, and as common man, we will be paying for the illegal activities of others. So shoplifting basically leads to increase in prices from the point of view of us, and in fact, the other person is a real gainer, whomsoever is shoplifting. So if you find out through this kind of study where you're resorting to the use of these expressive techniques that the person doesn't have too much of negativity associated with this kind of activity, so you may interpret, or you may infer that maybe this particular individual may at some point in time have himself or herself indulged in this activity of shoplifting. And sometimes what we do is that as researchers, we also make the respondent feel comfortable. We tell to that individual, see, so many people in the world are shoplifting, 20% of Indians shoplift, 60% of the Americans at some point in time, they accept that they may have shoplifted. So in fact, these are true figures. You'll be surprised that these are true figures based upon the research which people have shared, that this is the level of shoplifting that is happening in several countries, and that is why some very interesting outcomes at times are there. For example, I was reading about France, that there the policy is that if you are able to take out an item outside the store, and even if you have shoplifted, and once you are outside the store, even if the owner comes to know of it, then the person cannot report to the police or to the law enforcement, because it becomes your property. So till the time you are within the four walls of that store and you have not been able to take it out, then it's a crime. But if you've been able to take it out, so it is difficult for the store owner to as such report the matter to the law enforcement. Then there are, for example, certain organizations who have which have a policy that if the items which are shoplifted are more than a certain value, for example, if they are more than $20, more than $5, then only they will be reporting it. Otherwise, what they do is they take a photograph of that individual and they will be circulating it among their staff members. So next time you visit the store, they will all be very cautious when you are because they expect that you may shoplift again. So, but they will not be reporting it to the police, but they have the law permits that they can take in your image and they can circulate it amongst the staff, their own staff, so that they are more alert when you visit them. So these are some interesting things which at times are happening. Then see, as far as role playing is concerned, we have already discussed this. So as far as third person technique is concerned, see, in third person technique we have already discussed. Yes, we have finished this. Okay, we have covered this. Then what are the advantages and disadvantages of each? Let's discuss these. See, when we are responses are being shared. For example, let us first discuss the advantages of projective techniques over the focus groups and the DIs. See, here, whatever responses are being shared with us by those with whom we are interacting, we refer to them as subjects. So, if had we approached them using through, for example, depth interviewing procedure had we employed, which was not a disguise method or focus group. So maybe in those settings, the person may not have opened up. I'll say opened up. They may not have been willing, or they may have not been able to give us the responses had they known the real purpose of the study. So that is why we are resorting to these. Remember, that is why we are resorting to these particular methods. So at times what is happening is that when you are directly probing the respondents, directly questioning the respondents, they may intentionally misunderstand the question that you are posing to them, or they may intentionally misinterpret that. They may give you a response which may be a totally wild kind of response, which may be not appropriate response in that context, which may not be very revealing kind of response. They may try to mislead us as researchers. So projective techniques, some researchers say that the chances are, or the possibility is that, you see, these methods, these projective techniques, they increase the validity of responses. So why? Because why we are saying that they increase the validity? Because they are concealing, or they are hiding, or they're disguising the purpose. Particularly, for example, when you are trying to probe things which are personal, things which are very sensitive. Just like I shared with you that regarding shoplifting, I shared with you regarding the sensitive issues, like, for example, say whether the person has taken dowry or not. So, which is a social evil, which is looked down upon by the society, and so on. So these kind of issues may be probed. So let us have a 5 minutes break, and then we'll come back again. Let us have a 10 minutes break, and then we'll come back. Please don't log out, otherwise there may be issues in reconnecting. So. And I think all of you may have, I hope, marked your attendance for both the sessions. Those who have not marked, so the second link that I've sent to you, they can use that link to mark their attendance, and we will meet after 10 minutes. As per my watch, the time is roughly 12:10, so we will meet at 12:20. Fine? Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.